Okay. Hello, everybody. The only thing I'm sure of is that Amina Lajami and Miss Iman, that we are three people on Facebook Live. I don't know, have any idea if anyone else is on Facebook Live, but I know that us three, Hena Mujudin, Hena Tleta. So at least we can talk amongst ourselves, and we hope that there are other people out there that may join us, that have joined us. And if you are there, welcome, and we're grateful for any consideration and the time and thought you may give to sustainable development in Morocco. Our topic today, which is one that has always been with us, it's because this topic is always with the people and communities of Morocco, and that is the matter of trees, agricultural trees, organic ones, fruit-bearing ones, and to also speak about the new e-store that's being launched, that is launched on the Hylas Foundation website, where anyone in the world can purchase trees, 1 or 1,000 or tens of thousands, and plant them where one is, or to give them to the people. But today, we want to first say what we just said, which is the e-store is there, and we hope that you avail yourself of it. But we want to ask the questions of why plant trees, the who, what, where, when, and why of tree planting in Morocco. And today, in a conversation with Amina, and hopefully Iman will express whatever thought she may have on this vital matter to farming families and to the nation, that we'll have a conversation and that we'll hear your questions and your thoughts, and we will answer those vital points of view of tree planting, the who, what, where, when, and why of tree planting in Morocco, and that is our topic. And so Amina El Ajami, our Director of Projects of the Hylas Foundation, once a volunteer for the foundation from Tirdouin of the El Haus province, and who has a special perspective on all of those questions related to tree planting. Let me ask you a question, Amina, to start. When I say community tree planting, community managed tree planting, when I say those words to you, what comes to your mind?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Amina Hajami. I am Director of Project with Hay'atas Foundation since 2014, and I am volunteer for 1 year in 2013. For me, this question about fruit tree with community, that means all the community involved in this planting. It's not just tree, but also planting seed. All of our nursery that we planted with community and involved with community, man, woman, and also in distribution of tree. Of course, we engage all category of community, man, woman, and also students, because we planting also with students in school.
You know, that's such a, and when I think of you, Amina, and I think of the point you just raised, I love your answer, the truth, which is the truth, but I'm also not surprised, but still happy that you gave the point of view of participation, which is really what we are, but what you most wonderfully always emphasize when we're talking about really any kind of project. And so, and it really is not even about participation of what trees and where, which it is, but it's really about participation without even knowing it's trees. I mean, for us, it really begins about asking the question of what are the challenges in your life and how do you see your future? And oftentimes it results into projects non-involving trees, which we're dedicated to as well. Clean drinking water, school infrastructure, cooperative building, all kinds of things. And so, Amina, say something about having facilitated yourself community meetings with women and men and youth in different parts of the country over many years. Say something about the methodology, the participatory approach itself. What does it mean to you? And when you visualize it, what does it look like?
For me, participatory approach methodology that we use, this is one of the topic that I like when I started volunteer with High Atlas Foundation, because I saw one of my colleagues, her name Malika, facilitated in the mountain, and I liked the method that she uses. This is why I started volunteer with High Atlas Foundation. So for me, I like it because it gives opportunity to people to give their it's like their opinion, their idea, and they give it like a project. They create project for us as High Atlas Foundation, and as it's like staff in High Atlas Foundation. We just facilitate. We don't give idea. We don't give. We just it's like support them until they have design of their project. And for us, we started. This is one of the methodologies that we started with each community when we just meet them in the first time. We use it mostly because we work mostly in rural area, and we use it mapping. It's the first mapping is about, it's like natural mapping about what is it's like the source, natural source in area, about water, about tree, about all related to resource natural, and other mapping about social mapping. The name of this mapping, social mapping. It includes mostly infrastructure that have in this area, like hospital, like a route. It's like all infrastructure that have in this area. And the third mapping about dream mapping. What is, it's like the vision of this community, even it's woman or man of children, it depends. It's like you have, it's like different vision of each one, or the dream of each it's like category of the community. And why we use the design, because mostly community, they don't know how to read, or sometimes they cannot give idea because it's the first time. So mostly the design. I have one experience with women. The design, women have 6 hands, and when I asked them why it's 6 hands, they told me because they need to go to the field, they need to prepare for children, they need to do this. For them, the design woman, that she have a lot of tasks and she face a lot by designing. And we have other things. Mostly we use this like pairwise ranking to know what is all the need of the community, and also to have it like priority. And mostly for us in the future, if we will complete with them, or we can send their proposal to, it's like our partner, or for funding. Mostly we use, it's like the first priority that they want. And mostly it's like in this pairwise ranking, they give more idea, and they vote. And this is important thing. It means it's not the idea of one person or 2 person, but by voting, it's like they giving, it's like a reality project, and the project that they want.
Yeah. And so it's important. It's interesting what you said. And so we're talking about a process before we know that it's trees or clean water or schools or technical skills building or processing product or certifying organic or all the kinds of things that people want, or building, dealing with erosion and so forth, or building a well. Before we even get to that, we're talking about a dynamic dialogue process. And so the question of who, if we're going to answer the question of who first, we said women and men and youth, inclusive. So it's everyone. It's in, because of traditional areas, we may sit in gender separated spaces, at least certainly in the beginning phases. You mentioned the mountains, I believe. And so geographically, we are about being remote areas. Mountain regions, it could be semi-arid areas, but more the more distant, the more disadvantaged, those who haven't benefited from outside assistance. So the who are the communities as a whole, but that experience marginalization, that experience social and environmental difficulties because of geography, because of lack of opportunity, maybe limited infrastructure, and so forth. But say something, Amina. So we talked about the participatory process, but of course, there's even a stage and an essential part even before we get to participatory planning, which is about the empowerment workshop. Now, why do we have a workshop even preceding that goes before the conversation about projects? Why do we need, this period of days of what we're calling an Imagine Empowerment Experience? Why is that important to occur before community planning of projects?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, why? Because in some area we face problem, for example, with women, because they are not comfortable to seeing their idea. They are not comfortable to be more communication, and they are not be more power to see what their need and also about their right, because mostly of them women that we meet, it's like the women that not mostly of them, they don't go to school, so mostly of them, they don't know about their right. So for us, we use the empowerment of women more for the women to be more power, to know their vision. And mostly this program, Fatima Zahra talking about this program last week, more about detail, but it's including 7 areas of life, emotion, relationship, about money, body, work, spirituality, and sexuality. And all this area, the women need to have clear vision, and they need to know where she is strong and to be more developed, and when she need to develop. For example, they want to develop their work, or they want to develop, for example, their personality concerning, for example, money, to have more money, division of money, or to have more to develop more division of her body because she work hard. So mostly we use this program with women to be more comfortable and to be more it's like more power and more it's like communicate, to give her idea, and to give it's like her contribution in participatory approach. For us, if we meet with women, we started by empowerment of women, and the last day we started participatory approach. And mostly in participatory approach, you want to create it like a project, and mostly it's like creating cooperative, or they want to create association, or they want to work together, but they don't know how. So for us, it's like other step for them to come back and see what is their need and follow up with them, and until get their vision.
Mm-hmm. So we're beginning with what, an empowerment. It's that before the follow-up even occurs, that the initial workshop experience is 4 days, 32 hours with multiple follow-up sessions, workshops, as you described. Following the empowerment experience, it goes into community planning of projects and prioritizing and mapping and visualizing and seeing the future that we want and depicting that and drawing and then ranking all the different priorities and then assessing the different priorities and the potential solutions till finally an action plan is created. An action plan resulting from all of these preceding self-discovery, building of confidence, building our sense of belief, assessing all of our options, analyzing our challenges, doing it collectively, building consensus, and sharing information till we get to that action plan. So all of this occurs before we even have any idea about trees.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. When I was describing today, by the time a tree gets into the ground, imagine how many days and weeks and hours and energy and people and thought and partnership and all these things have to happen for one tree in one place to get into the ground. Okay, but before we even get there, so people prioritize trees, fruit tree agriculture. Mm-hmm. And so rather than going to who, then what, then where, then why, I'm going to go to who and why. Mm-hmm. So why do people, why do communities, why do farming families, why do women and men and youth, why do the rural people of Morocco consistently prioritize fruit trees as an important initiative for them? Why? What's going on in Morocco that's propelling, that's encouraging families to identify fruit trees as a common priority that they share?
Mm-hmm. Mostly it's like the income of community in rural area, mostly of their income from it's like agriculture, and mostly in the past they planting it's like wheat, corn or barley, but when in the past, because mostly people live just for eating or just for living, but now you have a lot of it's like priority like education. They want to it's like support their children to have high education. They want to have more tools at home, so they want to change their it's like situation. So and they find people that planting trees, they have more income than the people that just planting corn or wheat, because it's not the same price in the market. So for them now, mostly of people planting tree in their land, and they start and it's like generating income from those tree more than if they planting just corn. But now also they can plant in tree exactly when the tree it's still it's like small, and they can plant in vegetable with the tree. They can plant in barley also, so they can use both. It's not just waiting for the tree, but they can use the vegetable, wheat, corn, and also the tree. So it means diversity of generating income during the years. And also for the tree, mostly this suggests to have many types and of tree to have income, for example, of many types of tree during the year. It's not just one time in the year.
Yeah. It's really a full answer that you gave. I'm just going to say a few things, as you said, but maybe just say some numbers. So 80% of rural incomes come from agriculture, as you know. And as you said, that most rural incomes are from the agriculture sector, 80%. Mm-hmm. And when we look at barley and corn around the country, it's planted on 70% of agricultural land, and yet generates only 10 to 15% of agricultural revenue. 70% of land and only 10 to 15% of revenue because of its low price, and that we have these staples being imported into the country in order for the consumption, the demand needs to be met, but it's no longer as rural families move and communities move toward a cash economy, it's no longer as viable for them as perhaps it once was. And so the transition to trees, or I was thinking of the word rahma, alesh rahma, because as you said, Amina, they're able to grow vegetables and barley and corn as the trees mature. It's not like you plant the tree and then they can't plant anything else. And that's merciful. The rahma is mercy. It's mercy because it's not a sudden break from the staples. It may be gradual. And that is merciful on farmers because they could still have the staples as the trees grow and mature. And so we'll ask the question. So that's why. Go ahead, please.
Sorry, in addition, when people planting tree, it means more water. They keep more water because, for example, exactly for the mountain, because without tree, it means more erosion. Because it's like when it's a rain, it's go direct to a river. It's not the soil and source not get this water. But if we have tree, it means water. The tree receive water and it go to the it's like soil, and you can have more water. It means we will have more water if we plant it more than
it retains the water in the ground. Very great point. And also, of course, it cleans. It's a positive. It strengthens the environment because of the carbon dioxide sequestration that it also enables far more than what barley and corn could ever do. So that's why. And then we're talking about 14 million rural Moroccans, somewhere around there. And you can imagine then the pressure or the demand for trees in Morocco. If farming families are together making this transition in all different parts of the country, then we're seeing a huge demand for trees. And then the price, what would you say, how would you describe the demand for fruit trees by farming communities in Morocco? And what have you observed about the price of trees? So with the demand and the price, how would you describe that?
For us, we receive every year a lot of requests of tree, but because for the farmer, they go to the market and define the price. It's very higher. This is why they don't have. It's not all the farmer have. It's like the opportunity, and they have. It's like money for go to the market and for. It's like buying tree and plant it. This is what mostly for us. We receive a lot of requests. Of course, we serve community, but it's not enough in last years. But for this year, inshallah, we have more tree, and we can give it. We can it's like give all the requests that we receive.
Whoa.
Inshallah.
The demand is so high that we always have this feeling of if only we had more trees, But let's take a step back. You said the farmers. So usually the nurseries, the private nurseries, are closer to the cities, and so it's difficult for farmers to get trees, and then the prices are high. And so one of what allows the High Atlas Foundation to plant trees, tree nurseries, community nurseries, is because we receive land for nurseries without cost. And a farmer, a community, can't give their land for a year or two in order to build a nursery. They need to plant corn or barley, or they need to sow and harvest this year so they can have income, and they can't build a nursery. They can't use their land for a nursery. So the gift of land for their nursery is essential to help them achieve or meet their tree needs. They need to create their nurseries so that they can have nurseries close by that they can afford. And in order for them to do that, they need the gift of land, because they can't use their land because they need to plant corn and barley and vegetables in order for them to survive as a family, as a community. And so who does the Hylas Foundation receive land from in order to assist communities in their building of nurseries?
Mostly we have different, it's like partnership agreement. We have two partnership agreement with Center of Protection of Children, one in Fes and one in Wijda. We have partnership agreement also with the Water and Forest in-house, exactly in Tadmant, that we started from 2011. And we have other nursery with Water and Forest. We plan to plant seed this year in Wazan. And also we have partnership agreement with it's like a cooperative and local association, one in-house in Imgdal and another in the same provinces in-house in Tasawirgan, and another nursery in Wawizat commune in Azilal province. And we have other partnership agreement with Jewish community in Akrish nursery in Tamsleft commune in House province, and another in Imerdal in Warzazat. And we have partnership agreement with an association in Tubqal when we plant with women, and also the same in Tasawirgan, we plant also with women cooperative.
Tubqal in the Taradan province.
Yeah, Tubqal Taradan province. And we have partnership agreement also with the Salam School in Ifran, and also with the University of Sidi Muhammad bin Abdullah in Fas. So 11 nursery and different partnership agreement. And also we plan in the future to have more nursery with the other partners.
Yeah, and we have more land than we have finances to plant, which is interesting. We could plant probably double that number of nurseries with the existing land we have, if only we had partners. And of course, let's just say something about Ecosia, Robert Bosch College, Frey Skincare, and others that have. Ecosia has funded all 11 nurseries for this year and next year, as well as the monitoring of trees. And Frey helped achieve the Argonne, and Robert Bosch College funded the Girls Cooperative in Tasawirgan, as well as a portion of the cooperative in Imegdal. But of course, this year too, what's that? Credit Fondation Credit per project Fondation Credit Agricole. The interesting part about the Tubqal project is that it was just a mountainside that was eroding, and we had managed to, we supported the community in building terraces on that mountainside. So it was actually taking an eroding mountain face and terracing it. And now how many thousand, I believe it's cherry that's planted there.
Cherry
how many?
And almond and walnut, 30,000 of
30,000.
Almond and walnut. Yeah.
It's incredible on what was just, rock falling into the valley, and now 30,000 plants are growing.
The same as Imerdal, also it's like building terraces. We started to build terraces. It means
that's right.
Mountain.
And we have to acknowledge the National Initiative for Human Development. And this is remarkable. Think about this, friends who are out there. So there's a 1,000-year-old saint. There are Muslim and Jewish saints, and there may be Christian ones. And forgive me because I don't know their location, but there are Muslim and Jewish saints buried in Morocco, and there's a mountainside above the burial of a Hebrew saint, a 1,000-year-old burial site, and that mountainside was given by the Moroccan Jewish community to the Hayat Atlas Foundation to build a nursery, and the Moroccan government, through the National Initiative for Human Development, helped fund the building of that nursery. And so it's a multicultural interfaith project that is publicly supported by the government, which is an amazing thing. And also other donors, individual donors, private donors helped achieve, helped us raise the budget for that. And so that's a big part of the WHO, isn't it? I mean, it's about women and men and youth and communities and farming families and schools. These trees have made it to more than 600 schools in 24 provinces. And so it's about the people, but without the contribution of land from all of these different partners, the Waters and Forests is huge. That's, I believe they were the first public government agency to grant land. And now, since we've received land from the Ministry of Youth and Sports and the Ministry of Education, and Sidi Mohammed bin Abdullah is a public university. But Waters and Forests, as you said, Amina, in 2011 was the first to grant land in kind to be used for community nursery through the Hayat Atlas Foundation, without whom all of these land contributors, without them, and of course the donors that I mentioned, they are part of the WHO, a huge part of the WHO, and so we're grateful to them. Let's ask the question now: what trees? What kind of trees? And so, how do we answer that question? So we said the who and the why. We said the where, which is remote, rural, marginalized, disadvantaged communities, and where is also where we're given the nursery land in all the different places you said. But what trees and why let's answer that question. What are the trees that are planted?
Mostly, it's all the trees that we planted. It's organic fruit tree, and that including almond, walnut, pomegranate, cherry, fig. It's like walnut, argan,
pomegranate.
Pomegranate.
So I counted there are 9.
Nine,
There are 13 varieties that grow organically. We only grow organic trees. Now, there's some forestry trees too that we plant. What are the forestry trees?
For the forestry, it's argan and carob.
Carob, that's right.
Carob, yeah.
That's right. And that's
I
one.
forget grapes also. We plant also grapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, of course, argan and carob are fruit-bearing trees, but in Morocco, they are classified as forestry trees.
Yeah.
And we believe that we can make the case that fig ought to be classified as forestry trees because when we see that communities allow land to regenerate without using land as for their herds, for grazing their herds, and land is given a chance to revitalize, we see the natural growth of endemic varieties of fig. And so, which suggests that fig may, and in Wezen, we know that there are at least 10 varieties of endemic fig that grow in that region, which we're working. So we have the land grant, land in kind from Waters and Forests, 4 hectares to bring back those 10 plus varieties of fig that are endemic to this nation. So those are the trees that we plant, and also local seed. Let's emphasize that these are local varieties, organic seed, and of course, the communities determine the trees. And the trees that are grown in different nurseries are different because we try those nurseries in different regions, typically serve those regions. And so we want those nurseries to be responsive to the people of those areas.
Mhm.
Is there anything else you want to say, Amina, about the tree varieties?
I think no.
No? Okay. Well, that they can be certified organic, and
Yeah.
that we focus on that too with Fondation Crédit Agricole, and the Alliance for Global Good was the first organization that funded our certification of organic trees
Of
some
almond
years
and
ago.
almond and walnut.
That's right. In Toubkal,
Yeah.
almonds and walnuts in Toubkal, and Fondation Crédit Agricole is helping us renew that certification with more families in the high Atlas Mountains, again, focusing on walnut and almond. What do we want to say about when? When do we plant trees?
Mostly the perfect time for planting trees started from December until it's like March, the end of March. It's like or the beginning of April, but the mostly it's like the good time for planting trees. It's in January because the most raining, the tree need to plant it and get more raining at least it's like 1 month or
Yeah.
3 months to receive enough water because it's small tree and it needs more water in the beginning until started it's like I don't know a root.
Yeah. So the earlier in the season, so let's
Yeah.
say the season, we could start in mid-December and we go to the end of March, and the earlier the better because the trees get to enjoy the rains, the early rains. If we don't plant until March, that means it may get just inshallah a week or 2 or 3 of rain. But if we plant in late December or early January, it can get all of those months. I just want to say really quick thank you to Moroccan Street because we also signed a partnership agreement with them. It's a new innovative business, and as they grow, so too do they support trees. And before they launch, as they launch, they also already planted trees with us, and we want to thank them for that. I want to also thank Fenelec, a federation of Moroccan businesses all around the country dedicated to renewable energy, and they funded the solar panels and the water delivery system for nurseries in the El House province. And just a sincere thank you to them as well. So let's remember that you know, when we think of Earth Day, which is in late April, or Morocco's Tree Planting Day, which is in March, those days are actually late in the season for us. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they inspire, but, you know, Earth Day in April 25th, you can't plant a tree because it's too late. And so for the High Atlas Foundation, the third Monday of January, every single year, we have an annual tree planting day. And so, Amina, describe that day, the third Monday of January every year, and what it means to us.
For the third, it's like the third day of January. In the third week of January, mostly all of have stuff. It's like planting in this time tree, and mostly we devise each. It's like stuff 1 or 2 or 3 with the volunteer because we have volunteer that coming from other country, and they have volunteer Moroccan volunteer that we go with them to the field. We planting with community, with association, we planting with school, with cooperative. So it's like the day of planting tree in all mostly all the province will when we work.
Yeah. And that day began, so it took 11 years for the foundation to plant its first million trees from 2003 to 2014. And on that year where we planted our millionth, we were thinking, excuse me, where do we plant the millionth? And so we thought, well, let's plant in all locations with all partners, with all communities, wherever we are, let's plant all at the same time at noon on that day. Mm-hmm. And that will be the symbolic millionth, you know, and the practical millionth. And it was such a glorious day. Tomorrow, I'm interviewing Tom Anderson, who was with us on that day in 2014. And I remember it was 2 or 3 in the morning, and we were still getting reports of people planting, and it was just an unbelievable joy. And so since that time, we decided to make the third Monday in January. Why the third Monday? It's early in the season so that people can plant more. But also it gives you time because people go on vacation at the New Year period, and it gives people time to come back and still plan or get ready for this season. And so it sort of balances people settling back in after the New Year and people still having time to keep planting. And which of course, and it's Martin Luther King Day, which for us in the United States and around the world, it's a day of volunteering and giving and unity and diversity and peace and compassion and mercy and love. And it's a beautiful day to together plant trees. I want to say that this year, in those 11 nurseries, by community partners, 1.38 million seeds were planted, and we are supported by the partners that I mentioned. And again, Ecosia has made a huge difference. If Ecosia is not on your search engine, please make it so. The advertising, as we search, as we do every day on our on the internet for all the different things we need information about, as we search through the Ecosia search engine and click on its advertisers and so forth, the revenue is generated for Ecosia, and it's entirely dedicated to planting trees around the world. And congratulations to Ecosia for achieving their 100 million trees this past week, which is an incredible achievement. And so I think we answered who, which is the people of Morocco, the rural people of Morocco, and all the amazing partners. What? It's organic fruit trees, those 13 varieties, and we haven't planted lemon, so there's an organic variety that we didn't plant this year, right? And so we didn't plant avocado. Did we plant avocado?
I planted at home and it's growing well.
Okay, but
and
that's
also
Bruno Majon at on the board of the Hylas Foundation reminded us of its importance. It requires a lot of water, and it's usually grown in the north of the country, and most of our nurseries are in the south. And we've planted avocado. We've at different parts at different years. We have purchased trees at nurseries, and we've planted avocado in that way, but not yet in the nurseries that we support. But we want to. But we have planted lemon in the past. Go ahead, Amina.
Yeah, I inform it like to take care of nursery, and they started growing because for me. I planted just at home, and now 30 something in 3 months. It means it grows very fast, and it will work.
Very nice. And where those 11 nurseries are right now in 7 provinces, and we've planted in 24 provinces total. Most of our team is traveling right now in zones 2 of Morocco, where we can travel. And they are now monitoring the tree growth and survival, and also speaking with farmers about their upcoming tree needs for the 2021 planting season. Now the season may start mid-December and go through the end of March, but the preparation is now, and that's the thing. And if you want a truly as magnificent as can be planting season, we need to thank you, Fenelec, for that water system, because it's being installed now, and that's when it needs to be. And we're dealing with all of the infrastructure aspects of the nurseries now in preparation for the transplanting and replanting of all of the nurseries. And why? Because Morocco is in this great transition from traditionally growing staples to far more far greater revenue generating fruit trees that not only grown and sold conventionally, it vastly enhances their income, but the Hylas Foundation is dedicated to value-added processing and certifying organic and building the cooperatives and all the entire value chain. And USAID, the farmer-to-farmer program, is absolutely critical for the cooperatives and host organizations to be able to get the technical and capacity building support that's needed in order to achieve all the steps of the value chain. And so we are forever grateful to the farmer-to-farmer program and their support of local cooperatives, associations, and education centers in Morocco, most especially in the Oujda, Beni Mellal, and Marrakesh regions, because of the experts that they are enabling to come to Morocco, and now the Moroccan experts that they are supporting to be able to give for these organizations to meet their agricultural needs. And we're very grateful to that, to them as well. OES, Oceans, International Environmental and Scientific Research, they are the environmental education dimension they're supporting out of the U.S. Department of State, and we are deeply grateful to them. And I'm not just saying this because we have to say it. I'm saying this because I see and we are with the young people who are part of these environmental education activities as we plant trees, and that's being supported by OES and Ecosia and farmer-to-farmer volunteers who've planted with these young folks. And I'm seeing events that are lifelong memories and that are powerfully informative to school children and all across Morocco and the cooperative members and so forth. And so I say it because it's deeply meaningful to the Moroccan people, and that's why we're here, to be of service to the farming families, rural communities, urban neighborhoods that invite us to be part of their development experience. Amina, is there anything else you'd like to say about tree planting in Morocco with the people whom we are part of?
I think we can tell them that, as you say, that the preparation, it will be great if we can start from now. They can send us their request and the type and number of tree, and it will be great if we can know also how many hectares, for example, because some of farmers, they don't have more experience about the distance between tree and tree. So for us, we can support them also technical for many things. For example, to dig holes before at least 2 weeks, to have enough, for example, sun, and also to have when they need to plant in, it will be great if we have fertilize. They can use fertilize, organic fertilize, that will make tree growing well, because it's not just about planting trees, but also about the technical that they need to use it in the future to grow easily, and also to have generate income as soon as possible. It's not because some farmer told us we plant tree, but it's not growing. But when we ask them, they find that the hole, it's small hole. They don't have, it's like at least 50 or 40 something in the hole. They don't have water light. They don't have it's like enough water, and this is things. It will be great if they can contact us, and we can give advice. Also, they can request, they can receive the request, and they can be in the future. They can be the first farmer that receive from us the tree, and we can contact them as soon as possible. And other things about the story of that we put in our website, that it's not just for the farmer, it's for the cooperative, for association, and for everyone that want to plant one tree, 100 tree, 1,000 of tree. It's like they can visit our website, and they can find many type of the tree that we have.
Yeah.
We have also symbolic price. It's not marketing price, just for us. It's to replanting in the future the seed, because we have, of course,
Yeah.
partners for these years, but we don't know in the future, and we have in the future other need. For example, we want to plant in more seed. We know we want to have more fertilizer. We want, it's like irrigation system. It's like a greenhouse. So also for transportation. So it will be great if more local community or international community, international people or organization support this. It's like great initiative. It's not,
Yeah.
as we discussed from the beginning, it's not just about planting trees, but also it's like participatory approach planning, training for the farmer, training for the, it's like for women, empowerment women, also education. It's like environmental education for children and for youth. So it means mini program
That's right.
that including in planting trees.
That's right. And so it's an empowerment participatory process that results into planting trees and monitoring trees, and having the opportunity to reinvest that income into human development more broadly. And so it's really about a sustainable development process that, for the Hylas Foundation, yes, results into trees benefiting tens of thousands of people, but also has resulted into clean water and into building classrooms and into botanical gardens and into co-ops and into all kinds of other initiatives. So I'm reading some of the comments, and let me just say, I see the comment from Mr. Hassan about Imin Tanut. Imin Tanut is in our heart. It's in Shishawa, closer to Teradent, in that area. But I just want to say that let us know your needs, and we'll do our best. Now, you can buy a walnut tree in a private nursery for 30 dirhams. On our e-store, we're selling them right now for six dirhams. And so we are selling them just so that we can give them to you and have and then purchase another seed and put it in the ground. That's it. We are not a private entity looking to generate revenue or profit. We're looking to be able to provide you with a healthy organic tree, and to be able to have a seed so that we can plant another and serve another person in the future. And that's why, and we're able to keep our costs low because we receive the land in kind for free, and all of our partners are able to provide you these, enable us to keep reducing costs. And so we really have to be able to think about next year. And if your purchase of a tree can enable another seed to be planted, isn't that wonderful? And al-khair, u-baraka. And so, visit the e-store on the Hylas Foundation website and buy one, just one, buy two. And what we promise you is that if you don't, if you happen to live in the city and you don't need that tree for your porch, then we will plant it at a school, and we will plant it with a farming family, and we will plant it with people that want it and need it for their very sustenance and future. We're grateful to you for wishing us the best. Moroccans should act and contribute to Moroccan socioeconomic impact. I think we agree. And I think people are doing their best. It's really hard. I mean, let's say something about the difficulty of this work. We're saying associations, Maghribian, should do more or take notice of us. And when I see that, and I think how hard it is not. So imagine how hard it is for us. But we're probably a little more fortunate than other associations. Maybe, I don't know. But talk about the difficulty of the work and how hard it is to grow as an association. واش فهمتي يا مينا؟ لا. واش الخدمة ديالنا شحال صعيبة. الحمد لله الفونداسيون كبرت شوية، واش كبرت ما عرفناش. ولكن ما سهلش باش جماعة واحدة مغربية في الدور واحد غتلا مزيان. ما خدمة ما سهلش. سبيك بتكلمي على شحال صعيبة الخدمة تنمية مستدامة، شحال صعيبة هي باش تكون مزيانة وبصح في المغرب.
نهضر بالعربية سيوسف.
Let's say something in Arabic.
اوكي. صراحة بالنسبة إلا تنهضروا على التنمية، حيت واش تنديروا نشاط ولا تنديروا مشاريع. حيت إلا غنديروا نشاط غيكون واحد النهار ولا يومين، ولكن بالنسبة لي التنمية المستدامة هي باش أنني ندير واحد الحاجة على المستوى البعيد، يعني باش ترجع بالنفع للمنطقة ديالي مثلا ولا لدوك الساكنة. يعني ما نفكرش غير في واحد النهار ولا يومين، ولكن نفكر بعيد. مثلا الا تنهضروا غير على الشجر، الا غرسنا مثلا غير الخروب ولا غرسنا واحد البلاصه، انا نقول لكم مثال ديال واحد البلاصه غرسنا فيها 20,000 شجره. ديك 20,000 شجره راه تبارك الله الانكم ديالها من بعد واحد 5 سنين ولا واحد 6 سنين راه ما غاديش يخليو دوك المنطقه باش انهم ينزلوا باقي المدينه. يعني ما غاديش تكون عندنا واحد الهجره قرويه. دوك الناس غيبقاو في البلاصه ديالهم، غينميو المنطقه ديالهم، وغيكون عندهم دوك المداخل اللي هما غيحاولوا ما امكن انهم يطوروهم، وفي نفس الوقت ودوك المشاريع اللي غيديروا يعني غيهزوهم طول حياتهم. ماشي بحال الا مثلا نزلوا للمدينه وخدامين كي تنقولوا هذاك نشاط، واحد النشاط اللي غيكون عنده واحد الراتب شهري ولا مثلا واحد الراتب ديال كل 15 يوم، يلا يرجع للفيلاج عنده، وفي نفس الوقت غيمشي داكشي. يعني باش ما كانوا لي بروجي دو ريفوني اللي عندهم اثار على المستوى البعيد، باش ما كانوا مزيان. مثلا نهضروا على كاين مشكل ديال الماء، الا داروا غير مثلا السقي بالتنقيط، ولا مثلا حفروا عوض ما يحفر كل واحد البير بوحدو، دونك يكون واحد البير اللي هو مشترك اللي غينقص دوك المصاريف. يعني الناس خصهم ما يتفكروش اول حاجه بعدا ما يتفكروش كل واحد يتفكر راسو، ولكن باش ما كانوا في اطار جمعيه ولا كانوا في اطار تعاونيه ولا كانوا في اطار مهني مثلا فيدراليه ولا اي حاجه، راه ممكن انهم يوصلوا وفي نفس الوقت يديروا مشاريع اللي عندهم افاق. والمغرب الحمد لله راه بالنسبه للفلاحه راه عنده افاق. يعني اي حاجه تدارت في المجال الفلاحي، راه دابا كاينه ازمه كورونا والحمد لله راه يعني المغرب الخضره رخيصه وكاينين الفواكه رخاصه. يعني علاش؟ حيت كاينه الفلاحه. وان شاء الله نتمناو خير مستقبلا باش يكون التصدير وفي نفس الوقت التثمين ديال المنتوجات. باش ما كان التثمين ديال المنتوجات valorization of product، باش ما كانت شي حاجه اللي مزيانه بالنسبه للمناطق القرويه.
That's very, very important, the processing. Ms. Maria El Amrani asked the question about كيفاش كنخدموا مع مدارس في المغرب، كيفاش في وقت كنرسوا شجر معهم ايش مازال كنديروا معهم. وتكلمي عفاك أمينة على مشروع مع مدارس.
مهم. بالنسبة للمؤسسات التعليمية okay, I think I need to in English.
Go ahead.
Okay. For it's like activity that we did mostly with the school. It's about mini activity, planting tree with the school. It's with teacher, with the it's like a director of school, with the administrative of school, and also with the children, because for us important to engage students because they need
Yeah.
to take care of the tree. They need to be responsible for the tree. It's not just we told. And also we have it's like mini workshop with OES that
Yeah,
it's
but
like
and also with
environmental. Yeah.
Siemens Gamesa Renewable Energy.
Yes.
But also just to say, we are committed to school infrastructure,
Yeah.
clean drinking water,
Yeah.
multicultural activities, as well as environmental. We've given trees for children to take home. We've built teachers' housing. We've built classrooms. And so it's really about creating a comfortable and healthy learning environment. And we've also had hygiene workshops at schools. And so it's a huge part of what we do. And the income from the trees have actually made a difference in, we've had reports from different schools that eyeglasses have been purchased with fruit from the trees and materials, backpacks, and so forth to support students and their attendance in school. And let's also say that we are grateful to Siemens Gamesa Renewable Energy, as well as to Wahiba Estegard and Michael Gilliland, and Souls for Souls, because we are about to distribute not just food and hygienic supplies, but also clothing, shoes for young people, school children, during this very difficult time caused by the pandemic, where day labor has been really very, very significantly reduced. And so a lot of families, rural families, are hurting as a result. And so we're grateful to the partners for at least 600 families to be able to benefit from the project I just described. I want to thank you, Lala Mina Lajami, for your years of dedication and hard work and care and working with compassion and with such concern and seriousness and joy that you bring every day. I want to thank Miss Iman for her strong support and for enabling the launch of the e-store, and all of our HAF colleagues that supported that effort. I'm looking at the names of those who have said hello and wish us well. And to all of you, everyone listening, just thank you. خصنا نرسو شجار في المغرب وفي العالم ديالنا وخصنا نرسو أنا نقول دابا واخا تل شورتناش ولكن اللي مهم حد العام على سبب الوقت هو بجوج صاحبنا وما صاحبناش. Time is our friend and not our friend. And because we have to seize time, and we seize time by caring for one another, and by planting a tree it's an act of care for each other and for all those in the world to come. A walnut tree can live hundreds of years, up to 500 years. The carob tree can live 200 years. An almond tree can live 150 years. A fig tree can live 80 years. An argan tree can live beyond a century. And so we are talking about Tanmiya Mustadama, sustainable development, not just in regards to the participatory empowerment approach, which is the basis for sustainability, but also we are talking about trees that give for generations. And so let's plant wacha wahida, wacha mia, wacha likain. Let's just plant and do our very best. I feel like very few people in Morocco, market cities know about your foundation, and indeed engaging students in your work can make the foundation known more. You know, I think sometimes I'm very surprised, well, about how people have heard of us. And sometimes I wonder how people have never heard of us because of so much sincere effort over so much time has gone into it. But all I can say to that is that we're trying, and we want to engage youth at universities. I want to thank National Endowment for Democracy for the support of the Legal Aid Clinic and Katie Bursajay for her leadership up in Fez at Sidi Mohammed Ben Abdullah for the project up there. And the university partnerships that we do have. But I just want to say that by focusing as we do on participatory and empowerment and the people-driven change, that more and more people will know about the foundation and hopefully support its work. And I only say that because support any organization's work that's dedicated to community-driven approach. And so that's what we encourage. With that, I will say, barakallahu fikum, la'unkum, la'unna, kulna, la'un la'ilat dilkum, inshallah, غادي نخرجوا من ديورنا بالسلام والصحة وغادي نرسوا الشجر كلنا مجموعين في بلادات ديال المغرب إن شاء الله. لعونكم. السلام عليكم.
Thank you. شكرا.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.